Once I understood that I wanted to invest in real estate, I wanted to find a partner, and I wanted to really, scale that business. Once I understood that's what I wanted, I could focus on it. I had clarity to achieve that objective. Until then, I was just confused. I didn't lack motivation. I lacked the clarity. And when you don't have clarity, you won't have the motivation to achieve your goals.
Yeah, so you and I share another thing in common. We're both immigrants. And so we never lack the hardworking aspect, right? We work our butt off. So
Yes, yes.
that's how we were taught, and we always want more, more, more.
So V, it's interesting that you bring that point up, because if you think about it, that's a learned skill. And for me, working hard was great, but is it always the right thing? All right, maybe working smarter may be better as well. I was the I'm a guy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And when I had my one restaurant for over 20 years, it was me in the kitchen washing dishes. And when I understood that I was going to get burned out, and I learned it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart as well. And understanding that aspect of it, to become an entrepreneur and want to scale a business, not just to scale a business to make more money, but to scale a business to find the skill sets and the things that you love, that you can accomplish. For me, it was the education platform. For me, it was teaching others. That's what I loved. And for me to be able to scale the real estate portfolio, it allowed me to slip into this role. So I think that's the other thing. That's part of success as well. Finding out what you really like, finding out what your sole purpose is, finding out all of that, and then trying to work towards that, or that objective.
I think I already picked up a few nuggets here just listening to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so started off the show, I said we're going to be fundamental, basic here. So now let's take it to where, imagine I'm 30. I don't look that young, but I'm 30-year-old, working a full-time job, and I've managed to save $20,000. So someone like me, I want to get into commercial real estate. That's what you do. And finding the right deal is crucial. Not losing money is crucial. Building wealth is crucial. How do I go about finding a good deal, especially in today's market?
The first thing I would do is, I wrote a book called Baby Money Soldiers. And if you're 30 years old, you need to understand how money works. And a baby money soldier, I have $1 right here. You've saved up that money. Every dollar that comes into your life is what we call a baby money soldier. How you allocate or use that money will dictate how well you do in life. And let me give you a perfect example. You, as the person in your life, are the general of your financial battlefield. We're always looking to get into the next deal, to get into the highest rate of return. I think that's the wrong mindset. I think first and foremost, we have to understand how to control our baby money soldiers. You could be making 7 figures and be living paycheck to paycheck. It has nothing to do with how much you make. It's a component of being able to save enough baby money soldiers where you can go out and you can deploy them into buying an asset, right? Or even into putting the money into the stock market. Whatever vehicle you choose, before we get into the real estate, it's important that you lay the foundation, because this is all foundational work, especially if you're 30 years old. You need to understand that you need to save a certain amount of money to buy an asset, to pay for an event, not to save money to pay for the event. I was trained from the middle class to go out and put money into a 401k to save for my retirement, a 529 plan to save for my kids' college. When I understood the inefficiency and the waste that there was in that, and I said, let me save money to buy an asset like multifamily that will pay for the event. When that event is over, like a college education that I paid for, I still control that asset. That's the first important thing. Learning the rules. I can't go through all the rules in the book. It's a short book. It's like 50, 60 pages long. But understanding that, creating that foundation, you have that money. Before you even go out and look for a deal, make sure you understand that you are putting aside a certain amount of money to continue. Before you even allocate any of your money into a deal, keep some of those baby money soldiers in reserve, in an emergency fund, in case something happens. Another event like COVID where you may have to take off of work or you lose a job, have some of that money set aside. Make sure that your credit cards and your debt are not killing additional baby money soldiers. So making sure that you don't have any additional debt. See, I'm not even talking about investing anymore. We need to have the foundation set and secure before we go out and take all that hard-earned money and go invest it into a deal. Now, before you invest into a deal, you better get on podcasts. You better listen to books, read books, listen to audibles, whatever it is. You better consume and educate yourself for a minimum of 6 months. That's what I would say, at least 6 months. I mean, when I started, it was a lot more challenging. There weren't a lot of mentors out there. At that age, also, I may want to invest some money in a mentorship group. I mean, I made a ton of mistakes. Remember, I was just talking to you off camera about life before Jake and life after Jake.
Yeah.
Life before Jake, when I invested in myself, I had no mentors. When I lost a ton of money, I decided to find the mentorship group, and I invested actually in 2 mentorship groups. So I understood it's not just education, it's implementation as well. You can go out and watch all the YouTube videos you want, but if you don't have somebody holding your hand and helping you implement what you're learning, it's crucial. So now that you have this money, invest it in yourself. And those baby money soldiers, an investment in yourself is a way for you to actually get a huge ROI. And what does that look like? Early on, I may go into a little bit of like personal development, life coaching. I may go into, let's say, a single family home portfolio where I want to learn how to invest in single family homes or multifamily. I think what's important when you're starting out, once you've learned these fundamentals and you've built the foundation, then choose the vehicle. I'm here to tell you that multifamily, especially when you're starting out, small multifamily, duplexes, quads, they're a phenomenal investment. You can get in as a residential investor on these smaller assets. If you're 30 years old, you may want to buy a duplex or a quad, live in one of the units, house hack, and rent out the other 3. I would absolutely do that. That's how us as immigrants, we did it. My mom moved to Italy, came from Italy. We lived in a duplex with my aunt. We rented it downstairs. My mom lived rent-free for 15 years. And all those savings that she made, she was able to save and to put into other assets. So if you're young and you're 30 years old and you want to invest in real estate, understand and learn the commercial aspect of it, and then possibly go out there and buy a deal and live in one of those units.
I feel like as immigrants, we are house hacking, but we didn't even know it's called house hacking.
Yes.
You know, isn't that amazing?
You
The
know why,
concept-
V? Because
yeah.
we're not marketers. We also had side gigs. We also call side hustles. We call them second jobs and third jobs. They're not
Yes.
side hustles to us. So it's very interesting how we've all done it, but we weren't smart enough to market it the way they market it today, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes. I still remember like back in the day, it was an article in the news, like we got a room to share, you know?
I love that.
Okay. So obviously I was able to save up 20,000. So I'm somewhat disciplined, right? Mm-hmm. But what you're telling me to do is maybe spend the 20,000 on learning self-improvement. Is 20,000 enough to go get in a deal? Is it not enough?
Great
Do I
question.
need to build up more
It
assets?
depends on the deal itself, but I'm just talking from my personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I saved up $172,000 back in 2005. No mentorship, no understanding of real estate. I invested it with a gentleman. I like to call him Maserati Mike because he drove a nice gold Maserati. 18 months later, I lost it all. And Tony Robbins always poses the
went
question.
to his Maserati?
Yeah, well, I don't know what he did with it. He drove away. I never saw him again. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reality. But Tony Robbins always says, do you need to make the money and then go to the event and to learn how to make money? Or do you need to learn how to make money by going to the event and then you'll make the money? I really think if you have $20,000, you need to allocate a certain percentage of that to learning and to personal growth and to personal development. Because don't do what I did, have a nest egg worth of money and just invest it in a deal, looking for a deal. I didn't even know what a deal was. I didn't know I was a passive investor. I didn't understand due diligence. I didn't understand the basics of underwriting, cap rates. And it was my fault. I can blame Maserati Mike all I want, but at the end of the day, I stroked the check. After 2 or 3 years of that experience, I needed to take responsibility for that. So I'm telling you this right now. As a young investor, don't be looking for a rate of return. Don't be looking at Bitcoin and saying, oh, I'm going to throw money in Bitcoin and just worry. You have to understand and learn how to trade Bitcoin, right? That's the important part. I'm not telling you what vehicle to pick, but whichever one you end up picking, you need to be really, really exposed and really understand it. And if you're in real estate, obviously one of the bigger places to go look at real estate is Bigger Pockets. Go on there, read the forums, see what's going on, understand they've got a really huge, vast resource of blogs, articles, books, and I'm not advocating them or not, but if you're starting out, it's a great place to go and to find out, and then just start YouTubing and start Googling multifamily, Google single family homes, Google investing, and you'll see other people pop up. Start following them and start consuming their content as well.